SpongeBob SquarePants Mysteries, Ooze in the Ocean. Chapter 3. When Squidward refused to be my partner again and slammed the door in my face, he could have knocked me over with an extra thin pickle slice. Not because of the door slam, he did that all the time, but I was shocked that Squidward didn't want to get back into the exciting world of investigation. Sure, it can be a little dicey, unpredictable, dangerous, but so can riding your bike in traffic. Me, I was hooked on the thrill of solving cases and catching the bad guys, and I thought Squidward was too, but I was wrong. As wrong as a chumbucket customer thinking she's about to eat good grub. With a deep sigh, SpongeBob turned away from the door and started to slowly trudge away from Squidward's house. Oh, this is terrible, he moaned. How am I supposed to take on this case without a partner? Patrick stepped forward shyly. Maybe I could be your partner. SpongeBob smiled doubtfully. Aw, Patrick, I don't know. I mean, you're my best friend. Everybody knows that. But being a detective is dangerous, action-packed work. You're not exactly known for your love of action. You're more of a lying in your underwear watching TV and taking lots of naps kind of guy. Are you kidding me? Patrick cried indignantly. You can't spell Patrick without action, or at least without Atrick, which kind of sounds like action when you think about it. SpongeBob thought about it. You're right, Patrick. Atrick does sound a lot like action. But are you really sure you want to be a private eye? Some of these bad guys can get pretty rough. Detective work isn't for the squeamish, and you're a sensitive sea star. The truth was, Patrick wasn't absolutely sure what he had. The truth was, Patrick wasn't absolutely sure he had what it took to be a detective, or even a sidekick. Barnacle Boy had made it sound pretty hard. And if you messed up, you could ruin the whole partnership. Did that mean if he wasn't a good detective, his friendship with SpongeBob would be over? He was worried, but something deep inside him really wanted to try. I'm positive, he said, trying to sound confident. I want to be your detective partner person. Okay, SpongeBob agreed, going into his tough guy detective mode. That's swell. Now the first thing we gotta do is get you out of those flowered shorts and into some cool threads. Threads? Duds, rags, clothes, you know, like what I'm wearing. SpongeBob held out his arms and turned around so Patrick could admire his trench coat and hat. If you're not dressed like a detective, no one will take us seriously. You get me? I got you, Patrick said. And I think I know just the thing. He dashed off to his rock and emerged seconds later wearing a shirt, a tie, a beautiful tan raincoat, and a huge hat with feathers. Like this? Squinting and pursing his lips, SpongeBob studied his friend's outfit. Something's not quite right. The coat's good, but the hat's a little off. Too colorful and feathery. Kind of calls attention to itself, you know? Right, Patrick said, whipping off the feathered hat and tossing it back into his open rock. I should have known that. How about this? Patrick asked as he put on a jester's hat. No. This? He was now wearing a shower cap. Nuh-uh. This? Patrick said confidently as he stood heroically in a Viking helmet with 2 horns on top and 2 blonde braids attached. Not quite, buddy. But the only other hat I could find was this one. He plopped a floppy old black fedora on his head and snapped the brim down. Patrick, that's perfect! SpongeBob exclaimed. In that hat, you look just like a private investigator partner. Upon hearing that word, Patrick straightened up and furrowed his brow, aware of the awesome responsibility before him. Come on, let's get back to the Shady Shoals rest home and check out those green trails, SpongeBob said as he hurried off. Patrick closed his work and followed SpongeBob, relieved that his detective outfit had passed muster. But will I? He wondered. There wasn't much behind the rest home, just a garbage container and a couple of old rocking chairs. The residents didn't spend much time rocking in the chairs since it didn't take long to be overwhelmed by the smell of garbage. As SpongeBob and Patrick approached in their detective gear, they saw several residents stomping away, dragging suitcases and trunks behind them. Miss Halibut desperately followed, pleading with them to stay. I'm sure this will all turn out to be nothing at all. I'm not going to stick around here just waiting to be attacked by mutant mold monsters, Roy vowed. Aliens, Thoma insisted. Mutant mold monsters, Roy bellowed, struggling with his luggage. SpongeBob and Patrick immediately spotted the trails of green ooze in the sand. There! SpongeBob cried out, pointing. Green trails, just like Roy said! I see 'em, Patrick said, pointing at the lack of nose on my face. Let's get a closer look, SpongeBob said, whipping out a magnifying glass. He got down on his knees and studied the green goo carefully. Just as I thought. What is it? Patrick asked eagerly. Under magnification, the slime clearly appears to be green, SpongeBob said. Patrick's eyes widened. So the green trail is made out of green stuff? Wow! Who would have guessed? Now, SpongeBob said, standing up and putting his magnifying glass back in his pocket. Let's see where the green trail takes us. The two detectives followed the trail away from the rest home, hoping it might lead them straight to a villain's lair, but they hadn't gone more than a few yards when the trail petered out, disappearing. Where'd it go? Patrick asked, mystified. SpongeBob was stumped. That I couldn't tell you, partner. He took off his hat with one hand and stretched his head with the other. There must be something we're missing. Putting his hat back on, he crouched over the green trail, hoping to spot some clue he'd missed in his earlier examination. But Patrick was hovering right behind SpongeBob, trying to see if he could help somehow. His pink spotted dress and the old raincoat cast a shadow over the line of green sludge. Patrick, you're in my light, SpongeBob said. A detective needs light to study the evidence. Oh, sorry, Patrick said, starting to back up. But just before he moved away, SpongeBob noticed something. On the ground in front of him, he noticed a faint green glow. Patrick, did you see that? SpongeBob asked excitedly. See what? Patrick asked, feeling a little discouraged. Me getting in the way? No, a green glow, SpongeBob explained. He peered at the sand. I don't see it now. Maybe it has to be dark for the sand to glow. Stand back where you were before when you were casting a shadow over the trail. Patrick moved uncertainly back to the spot he'd stood in before, right behind SpongeBob. Like this? I don't remember exactly where I was. Yes, SpongeBob said, pointing at the ground. Right there, see? The green slime glows in the dark. Craning his neck around SpongeBob's square head, Patrick saw an eerie green glow coming from the trail in the sand. I see it! I see it! They both stood up thinking. Okay, SpongeBob said. This is definitely a clue. Someone or something has left a green trail behind the Shady Shoals rest home. But it's not just a green trail, it's a glowing green trail. But who or what would leave a glowing green trail? Patrick wrinkled his brow, concentrating. A nightlight salesman? SpongeBob looked doubtful. Possibly. A faint memory tickled his brain. I'm pretty sure we've seen a weird green glow like this before, but where was it? Suddenly, he remembered. Snapping his fingers, SpongeBob cried, I've got it! I remember where we've seen an eerie green glow. Where? Patrick asked. In my refrigerator? No, SpongeBob said. On the Flying Dutchman's ship! Patrick remembered. Every time they'd have the misfortune to be visited visited by the Flying Dutchman and his ghostly crew, they'd seen his old-fashioned sailing ship glowing a strange green glow. In fact, everything on his vessel glowed green, including the fearsome Flying Dutchman himself. Shuddering, Patrick said, "So you think it's the Flying Dutchman?" SpongeBob nodded slowly. "That's the theory I'm working on, bud," SpongeBob said, straightening his hat. "Sure, it's only a theory, but so's the theory of gravity. And look how that's worked out." Patrick nodded as if he knew what SpongeBob was talking about. "Good point, detective partner guy." Kneeling down, SpongeBob took one last close look at the line of green ooze in the sand. When he blocked the light with his hand, the slime glowed. He stood up, brushing sand off his pants. "I think it's time we had a little talk with the Flying Dutchman. Find out if he's been snooping around the Shady Shoals rest home. Get to the bottom of this before all the residents move out. The joint closes and Merman and Barnacle Boy have nowhere to live." "Okay," Patrick agreed. He cupped his hands around his mouth and called out, "Hey, Flying Dutchman! We want to talk to you!" After a moment of silence, Patrick told SpongeBob, "He's not answering." "I don't think he can hear you, Patrick," SpongeBob said. "I mean, look around. Do you see him or his ghostly ship?" Patrick looked all around. All he saw was SpongeBob in the back of the rest home. Nope." "But he must be nearby," SpongeBob reasoned. "If he left a slimy green trail here just last night, where would he go?" Patrick thought hard. "Well, the Flying Dutchman is spooky and scary, so he'd probably go somewhere really creepy." Nodding, SpongeBob agreed. "Oh, that's smart thinking, partner. Now what's the creepiest place in all of Bikini Bottom?" "The chum bucket?" Patrick suggested. SpongeBob considered it. "The chum bucket is more empty and sad. I'm pretty sure we're forgetting another spooky spot. Think, Patrick, think!" They both thought for a moment, then said at the same time, "The ship graveyard!" Stay tuned for Chapter 4, coming up soon.